Good evening.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, I think Bill Wyatt needs to look back at his past, doesn't he?
Well, I tell you.
With that what's her name, Mona?
Yeah.
Her name, Ramona? If I recall correctly, several years ago, I believe what he didn't that destroy his marriage and his family?
Well, it certainly did.
Now, supposedly, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, he's living in adultery today. So how can that man be making a comment about Johnny Robertson? He needs to clean up on his life, her lifestyle. Is that true or false?
I kind of go along with you on that. You know, you got problems in your past. You better watch them. They're going to catch up with you. So
we all are human beings. We all are weak, like that governor out in New York. I mean, we all are weak, Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, all men are weak, and we do a lot of, well, not only men, but people do stupid things all of their life. But there again, let me repeat this. Bill Wyatt needs to clean up on his act and get out of that adulterated state he's in, because he's headed to a place that starts with an H and ends with an L. And that's not judging, that's looking at the Bible.
All right. Yes, sir. Good evening.
Hello?
Hey.
Let me say this about Bill. He has cleaned up his act. He and his wife are married. They're not living in adultery. And he has changed his life. And that man that called, I don't think you should say anything about Bill like that, because he has cleaned up his life. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Hello.
It's the lady that just called a while ago about the Bible, if she will read the Bible. And so for Bill Wyatt, he better be thinking about how he conned all those people out of that money that time, sitting there crying and begging and everything. And I have no use whatsoever for Bill Wyatt. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Whew. Good evening.
Hey, Bob.
Good.
Don't believe what Johnny preaches. I have listened to him on your station, but he is right. I mean, as far as Bill, because it says in the Bible you're only supposed to have one living wife or one living husband. And if you're not, you're living in adultery.
Yeah.
Isn't that the way you read the Bible?
That's the way I understand it says, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, and if you're living in adultery, for instance, and I'm not real clear on all this, but if your wife leaves you and remarries, she's living in an adulterous marriage, and the only way you can reconcile that is if she comes back to you.
Yes.
That the man's not allowed to remarry again. Actually prevents him from remarrying, according to the Bible, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been waiting on my husband to die many years.
Well, after they die, can you remarry?
You marrying if their wife is passed or they've never been married before, you can.
Yeah. Oh, well, I tell you, sometimes it gets a little complicated. I guess people just see things differently and read things and interpret them differently.
Well, I was preached that all my life, so.
That's the way I understand it, too.
I'm glad to hear that, Bob.
Good evening.
Hello, Bob.
Hey.
I'm not going to get into this Johnny and Bill and all that stuff. I've never watched Johnny. So we all have our own beliefs. We all have our interpretation of the Bible, even though if we read it word for word, we might all think alike. But, you know, one thing the Bible does say that, you know, you ain't supposed to gossip. And to me, when a person says they're a Christian and so forth, and they go by the Bible, and then they turn around and they gossip about other people and bring up old stuff, they aren't doing too good themselves.
That's a good point.
And that's the way I look at it. And and as far as the governor in New York, unfortunately, he's like a lot of people that have money galore and power. They think that the laws and so forth do not apply to them. And as Newton's law says, the higher you go, the harder you fall. Have a good one.